Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. We have Brian Vickers, driver number 14, Tax Act, military files-free Chevrolet SS. Of course, Brian continuing to sub for Tony Stewart, who injured his back prior to the season starting. So, Brian, we just unveiled the car you're going to drive here this weekend. Talk a little bit about the initiative that Tax Act has with you this weekend for the Duck Commander 500.
Absolutely. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Good morning, everyone. It's not often that you get the opportunity to really say thank you to the military in a meaningful way, and that's what Tax Act has done here. It's a lot of people talk about it. They always and generally they mean it, but Tax Act put their money where their mouth is, and they've got a military files free program. So essentially, any active or reservist military can file free, federal, state, simple, complicated forms, tax forms, doesn't matter. And it's pretty cool to have that opportunity to represent, that brand and that message this weekend is a big one.
Just go to taxact.com/military and they can start their free returns. We'll go ahead and open it up to questions for those who want to ask anything about Brian Vickers racing here at Texas. We'll go with Jim right over here.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Brian, a lot of people were talking about your finish last weekend, but can you kind of put in perspective how much that has taken to get to that point? Obviously, not running every week makes it more difficult, but can you tell the progress since you've been in and out of the car over the last several weeks?
Sure. Last weekend we had a great run. You always want more. We wanted to win the race. We had a great car. We weren't quite as happy within the race we were in practice. We had a different tire batch code, and it seemed to affect the handling a little bit. But we made a lot of progress through the race and had a good finish. It is a challenge, not being in the car every week. Although it is kind of nice at the same time. It's certainly an added challenge. But as you guys know, I mean everyone in this room pretty much is on the circuit, and they understand the grind, of the length of our sport season. But I would, the last 3 weeks I think have been great working with Mike kind of continually and the whole team, and really building the momentum we need to put a car in victory lane. And I feel like we've done that in the last few weeks, and Martinsville showed that. And I feel like we have a good car coming here to Texas, and hopefully we could build on that and take a 7th and turn it into a win or a top 5.
And Brian's referring to Mike, his crew chief, Mike Bugaravich is the best pronunciation of his name. We'll go with Chris.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. To piggyback on Jim's question, Brian, how important has it been for the team overall for you to be in the car 3 consecutive weekends coming into Texas this weekend, and what's your outlook on Texas? Yeah,
it's a good question. It's probably a better question for the team, but I speaking to them, I know that their sentiment would be it's huge. I think having some consistency in the driver's seat, has been great for them. And great for us to kind of build that chemistry and work together. It takes time, it just does. And, from a communication standpoint with me, the crew chief, the engineers, the spotter, it takes time. But we're getting there. We're making it happen. It's an honor for me to be in the car. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I hate that I'm in the car because of the circumstances. It means Tony's injured and he's not here. I have been in his shoes many times, so I wish him nothing but the best. I'd love to see him in the car soon, but happy to fill in for him until then. And I think the more times we're together, the more times we're in this car, the better it'll get.
Right over here.
Brian, Drew Davison with the Fort Star Telegram. You kind of hit on it, but how involved has Tony been kind of with you during the races, and how nice of an asset has that been?
Yeah, it's been a great asset. Tony's been, great to work with. Tony and I have always had a mutual respect and always got along. He's been great to work with me. Well, I wouldn't say we always got along, but we've by and large almost always got along outside of the race car. There's always been a level of mutual respect there. He helped me a lot when I was young, gave me tips, and as veteran drivers tend to do in the sport. I don't think it's, not everyone does it, but Tony's always been that guy where when you're young and you're the new guy coming in, he's always quick to help, and that was always great to have. Certainly we had our run-ins. When you race hard for for over 10 years together. You're going to have a few disagreements, but nothing changed off the racetrack for us. And working together in the capacity we are now is unique and different, and it's really interesting. I mean, now I feel like I know he's telling the truth. As before, I just thought he was, but I wasn't sure. His how he stepped into this role as kind of an owner, coach, mentor, whatever you want to call it, has been really impressive. I mean, I know it's hard for him not to be in the car, but I think he's really enjoying it. And I think he's in a way. You're thinking about a lot about what his future looks like after the season. He's already announced that this will be his last season. So what does that look like for him? I think he's found a great balance, at least with me, of not micromanaging the team, not micromanaging the driver, giving great insight and tips and advice when it's warranted or he feels like it's needed or it's asked for. But he doesn't try to tell me how to drive the car. He doesn't try to tell the team how to set the car up. He very much lets the team kind of run its course and be a guiding hand along the way.
Matt Weaver, Racer.com. I know your focus right now and somewhat for the immediate future is on the NASCAR side, Stuart Haas, but you were linked to an Indy 500 ride, which met Peterson. How close was that, or is that something that you would even like to do? Yeah,
I'd love to race anything, quite honestly. The Indy 500 would be one of them. I'd love to run Le Mans again. I'd love to race sports cars, and I'd love to be in this car. I'm really enjoying this opportunity as well. So I'm open to all those opportunities. Indy is one of them. I would love to have something to announce. Unfortunately, there's nothing to announce at this point. It's still on the table. It's not done, but it's not off the table yet either. So we'll continue exploring that, and if it happens, great, and if not, move on to the next opportunity and maybe next year.
Any other questions? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Brian, thank you. Appreciate your time. Have a great